There is no psychiatrist in the world like a puppy licking your face. Bernard Williams. I'm Mike with List 25, and here are 25 harmful foods your puppy shouldn't eat. #25. Chocolate. Dogs love chocolate, but in fact, it's one of the most dangerous foods for them. Chocolate contains a toxic component called theobromine that is easily metabolized by humans, but dogs process it much more slowly, allowing it to build up toxic levels in their system. It can cause dehydration, abdominal pains, severe agitation, muscle tremors, seizures, and death. The darker the chocolate is, the more dangerous it is for your dog, as white chocolates are less toxic. 24. Avocado. Avocado is known to be very healthy for humans and can be delicious when correctly prepared, but your dog should avoid this fruit. Avocado contains a toxin called persin. Dogs can develop an upset stomach, breathing difficulties, and fluid buildup in the chest after eating an avocado. They can also swallow the big, slippery pit and cause serious problems in their stomach. 23. Alcohol. Whether it's beer, wine, or liquor, your dog should never be given any alcohol. Alcohol has the same detrimental effect on dogs as it has on humans. In dogs, however, it takes far less to do the damage. Naturally, it takes far less alcohol to intoxicate and poison an adult dog than it does for a fully grown adult human. After consuming even a small amount of alcohol, your dog might have diarrhea, depression, problems with coordination, breathing difficulties, etc. 22. Onion. Many people love onions and foods that contain them, but this popular vegetable can be extremely harmful for our dogs. All onions, whether cooked or raw, are a big danger to dogs, as it takes a very small amount of onions to poison them. Consumption of as little as 15 to 30 grams per kilogram has resulted in clinically important hematologic changes. Onion toxicosis is consistently noted in animals that ingest more than 0.5% of their body weight in onions at one time. 21. Milk. Of course, puppies drink milk after they're born, but it does not mean milk is okay for them later in life. Milk contains some good stuff, such as protein, vitamins, and minerals, but it also contains lactose that many dogs are intolerant to, as they lack an enzyme that would break down that type of sugar. Generally, milk might not be as life-threatening as some other foods on the list, but it can still cause serious problems to your doggy. 20. Coffee. Dogs and cats appear to be more sensitive to the effects of caffeine than people. While 1 to 2 laps of coffee will not contain enough caffeine to cause poisoning in most pets, the ingestion of moderate amounts of coffee grounds can easily cause death in small dogs. When ingested, signs of hyperactivity, vomiting, an elevated heart rate, hypertension, tremors, hyperthermia, seizures, and other difficulties can occur. 19. Cheese. When consumed in moderation, cheese might not pose a big threat to your dog, but if he happens to eat too much cheese, he might suffer from diarrhea, flatulence, bloating, constipation, and other digestive upsets. Apart from problems with breaking down lactose, some dogs may also have difficulty processing the high fat content found in some cheeses. 18. Bacon. As bacon is not even good for humans, it comes as no surprise that dogs should avoid this unhealthy delicacy too. Just like most humans, dogs love bacon, but unfortunately, its high fat content can lead to digestion problems and eventually even to canine pancreatitis. Naturally, dogs should eat meat, but rich, greasy, and fatty pork is nothing they should be given. 17. Macadamia nuts. Native to Australia, macadamia nuts are rich in numerous essential nutrients, including thiamine, vitamin B6, manganese, iron, magnesium, phosphorus, etc. Despite these healthy essentials, it has recently been discovered that these nuts are toxic to dogs. Ingestion may result in macadamia toxicity, marked by weakness and hind limb paralysis, with the inability to stand occurring within 12 hours of ingestion. The symptoms may also include muscle tremors, joint pain, and severe abdominal pain.
16.
Chewing gum. Seemingly harmless, sugarless gums are actually the most dangerous food dogs can be given. These popular treats usually contain a natural sweetener, xylitol, that is lethal to dogs. It causes a rush of insulin, blood sugar levels to plummet, possible coma, and even death. According to experts, a chewing gum containing xylitol is 100 times more toxic to dogs than chocolate. It's estimated that thousands of dogs die every year as a result of eating this type of gum.
15.
Grapes. Grapes, and raisins too, are bad for some dogs as they can cause rapid renal failure, kidney failure. The exact mechanism behind the kidney failure after consumption of grapes or raisins is still unknown, but what is known is that it affects just about 33% of dogs. In the affected dogs, just a few grapes might be enough to cause them serious health problems, so make sure to keep this fruit off the places that your dog can reach.
14.
Garlic. Garlic has similar effects on dogs as onions, but garlic is considered to be about 5 times as potent and dangerous as onions. Garlic poisoning might result in oxidative damage to the red blood cells, making the red blood cells more likely to rupture, and gastroenteritis, nausea, oral irritation, drooling, abdominal pain, vomiting, diarrhea. Other clinical signs of the poisoning include lethargy, pale gums, an elevated heart rate, an increased respiratory rate, weakness, etc.
13.
Apples. Apple flesh is harmless to dogs, in moderation, but apple seeds are poisonous not to just dogs, but to every living thing. The seeds contain amygdalin, a form of cyanide which prevents the blood from carrying oxygen throughout the body. Eating just a few apple seeds should not be a big problem, but if your dog happens to eat too many of them, he might experience breathing problems, seizures, collapse, and even coma.
12.
Bread dough. Unbaked bread dough can be poisonous to dogs. When ingested, the unbaked bread dough expands in the warm, moist environment of the stomach and can result in a bloated stomach, which can later progress to a gastric dilation volvulus known as the twisted stomach. Secondly, when the yeast in the unbaked dough is fermented, it results in the production of carbon dioxide and alcohol that gets absorbed into the bloodstream and results in alcohol poisoning quickly.
11.
Ice cream. Just like every dairy product, ice cream contains lactose that some dogs might have trouble digesting. There are also more reasons why you shouldn't give ice cream to your dog. As it usually contains a considerable amount of sugar, it can cause dental problems and obesity. Dogs who eat ice cream too often may even have more serious health problems, including diabetes.
10.
Candies. No matter if candies are sweetened with sugar or artificial sweeteners, they are always dangerous to dogs. If they contain sugar, they are bad for the dog's teeth and might cause obesity, while artificial sweetened treats often contain xylitol, which I already talked about in number 16. Therefore, candies, in any shape, size, or color, should never be given to your dog.
9.
Bones. As surprising as it might seem, dogs should not get bones. Annually, thousands of dogs end up in the emergency care center of vet hospitals because of bones. In fact, dogs are omnivores, not carnivores, meaning their bodies are not adapted for bone eating. Of course, dogs love bones, but they cannot consume them safely since the bones can splinter or get lodged in the dog's throat or intestinal tract, eventually leading to serious injuries and even death.
8.
Peaches. The problem with peaches, and other similar fruits such as plums or apricots, is the pits that can cause painful intestinal obstruction. Moreover, these fruits also contain cyanide, which is poisonous to both humans and dogs. Eating the flesh of the peach should not cause any damage to the dog, but make sure he does not eat too much of it to avoid flatulence.
7.
Marijuana edibles. The problem with marijuana edibles is that animals do not react to the THC in cannabis the same way humans do. Without treatment, they can go into coma and even die. In dogs, these edibles may be even more lethal if they also contain chocolate, raisins, or other things I already talked about.
6.
Raw eggs. Raw eggs are rich in vitamins and nutrients, but there are two problems with giving them to your dog. First, there is always the possibility of food poisoning from bacteria like Salmonella or E. coli. Second, some enzymes in raw eggs might interfere with the absorption of a particular B vitamin. This can cause skin problems as well as problems with your dog's coat if he or she has been eating them for a long time.
5.
Raw meat. Feeding dogs uncooked meat is becoming increasingly popular, with advocates believing a natural diet of raw meat, bones, and organs is healthier than processed pet food, which often contains added salt, sugar, and artificial coloring. However, similar to raw eggs, there is a danger of bacteria poisoning. In 2014, about 40 dogs died within a short period of time in the UK after they suffered kidney failure and severe skin lesions after eating raw meat.
4.
French fries. French fries tend to be high in the worst kind of fat, saturated in trans, as well as sodium, which is why they should be tightly restricted for dogs, and for you too if you want to avoid obesity, high blood pressure, etc. Moreover, French fries are usually very salty and they contain many unhealthy added ingredients, which makes them very dangerous food for dogs.
3.
Mushrooms. Certainly, there are some mushrooms that will not hurt your dog, but generally, mushrooms are tricky. Although a vast majority of mushrooms are edible, or at least non-poisonous, the danger of mushroom poisoning is always there. Also, the signs of mushroom poisoning can take a day or more to show up. Even if you are sure you picked edible mushrooms, you should not give your dog too many, as it might cause him digestion problems.
2.
Human medicine. Surprisingly, reaction to a drug prescribed for humans is the most common cause of poisoning in dogs. Just as you would do for your children, keep all medicines out of your dog's reach. Also, never give your dog any over-the-counter medicine unless your vet tells you to. Ingredients such as acetaminophen or ibuprofen are often found in pain relievers, and they can be deadly for your dog.
1.
Spices. There are some herbs and spices that can be added to a dog's diet to add flavor, encourage healthier eating, and benefit the dog's overall coat and organs. However, there are also some seasonings and herbs that dogs should never consume. These spices include nutmeg, cinnamon, pepper, pennyroyal oil, and some others. Enjoying our lists? Be sure to click that subscribe button in the top right corner so you don't miss out on new ones every Monday through Friday. Share them with your friends and help us consistently conciliate curiosity. And if you want even more lists, check out these two videos here, or just head to our website at list25.com.